Hello! Today I am doing a special stream that I hope I can make stick around for a while. Years ago, I developed a spinner's journal. It is something that I use, but it is also something that is available to you as a spinner if you would like to use it. But some people would be like, what's a spinner's journal? And why? Why would it be good for me to have? So let's start with what it looks like. It is this nice, not full size notebook, a half size notebook, right? And nice spiral binding. You can open it up, it'll lay flat. Little bit of information about me on the back, and wonderful pages to record your projects in. But that's getting ahead of it. Let's talk about why do we want to keep records? When I first developed this, I was developing this for projects that were pretty long term because one of the things I tended to do as a spinner is buy a fleece straight off the sheep, right? They sheared it, I bought it, and then I had lots of steps in order to get that ready to spin. I couldn't just bring it home and spin it. Even if I wanted to spin in the grease, it'd still be dirty, right? There still needs to be some things to do. So, whatever you choose to do, there's many steps if you do the same thing. We're going to talk about using this journal if you want to use it for fiber that you buy already to spin, but let's talk about this scenario first. So, there are steps and you don't do them all on the same day. So you need a way to say, okay, on this day, I took that fleece out and I shook it really good and I pulled out all the dirty bits and I separated it out into the way I want to wash it. That's one step. The next step might be I washed the first of 3 batches. Next step, I washed batch 2, then batch 3. But they are all different days, and you kind of maybe want to have record of this just to learn and to understand how much there is involved when you buy a fleece. On this spinner's journal, I'm going to try and open this up here, pages at a time. The book is set up so that a project is 2 pages. Before I get to that though, we got a place to say whose journal it is and also to put what dates they run. That's your first page. The next 2 pages are indexes. This particular one will hold 20 projects. Okay? See how you could write project 1 and title it what it is? Now, what's a project? A project is exactly what I was talking about. It's all of the steps involved in getting something from the beginning to ready to spin. Okay, that's a project. That's what I used it for the most years because I bought a lot of fleece over these years, and I have these as a record of what to do. So after you go whenever you start a project, your next page, it's going to have project number. You're going to put whatever number you want to put. You can put number 1 because this is a new book, right? And each of these 2 pages have these little box sections, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those sections. So you can have 6 steps in there, and you can make notes right here that maybe something like, oh, I'll never buy this kind of fleece again. Whatever, right? You've got your place to put what your reactions to, as well as you got some smiley faces here. Oh man, I didn't like this project at all. Frown face. I loved it. I'll do this again. Now, what goes into each of these little project areas? Well, we're going to have the date, of course, and we're going to have the process step. This was sorting it out. And then we're going to have if you want the amount of time spent. Some people use that if they're selling their final product, right? I don't always. It's not been an issue with me, but it's there if you want to use it. Now, the tools may or may not be something you want to put in there. It comes up when you're combing or carding. It comes up when you're using specific spinning wheels, that sort of thing. And you can ignore you if you can want to record your yardage or weight. This is where you would record the weight of your fleece or your yardage if you're spinning a skein. And then there's a tiny space here for specific notes for this project step. And like I said, you have 6 of these steps for project 1. Now what happens? Well, one of two things. That completes it, and by the time you hit number 6, you've spun your yarn. Or you don't. It didn't complete it. You got more steps. So you go to the next page and you can write project 1, which will, according to, if you refer back to your index, be this particular fleece that you're working on. What if the project is not complete on project 1, but you start another project? We all do it, right? Okay, so you write down project 2. I keep pointing to the wrong place, sorry. You write down project 2 here. You put your details in the same way. You put it in your index. Project 2 has a different name, right? And then you go back to, if you want, project 1. In other words, by leaving this project number blank, you have the option of putting project 1 in as many times as you need to into the journal. And, I don't usually run into that, but it's perfectly, you can put this in any order you want and keep track of it because it's in your index. That's sort of the basic gist of the book. I mean, really, it's a simple concept. It's made to be as adaptable as you want, right? As you need. You can set up whatever format you want to use. And speaking of that, now, okay, so you're not a fleece buyer, but you have lots of rovings and all that sort of thing. I took one of my spinner journals and I used it for a stash inventory. Some people don't like to be on Ravelry anymore. For a while there, this kind of lost. Nobody kept track of it. Nobody used it because we didn't want to use paper anymore. We had this wonderful internet. We had Ravelry and all sorts of things that it was like, we don't need it on paper anymore. All of a sudden, people are going back to paper. And if you want, you have 2 ways of doing that, right? Your project right here can be project 1. And then when you go over here, project 1 can have, let's say, maybe you put all your Blueface Leicester skeins together, or not skeins, but fibers together. Or you put together fibers that you think would be what you want to put together for a certain sweater. Or you put together the fibers that you think you want to spin that you're going to sell. In other words, you decide what the project is, and then you put your fibers that fit into that category on your project page. And again, if you have a lot, you just keep calling it number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever it is, as you progress forward. Now, I said this can hold 20 projects. How many pages are there? I did not count that ahead of time. I probably should have. Okay, there's more than 40. I think it might be 40. That gives you 2 pages for each of those 20. When I do the and release this and I do the highlight, I'll probably edit that pause out. Okay, so there are 40 of these project pages. There are listings for 20 of the index on the index, and that gives you 2 of these project pages for each one. I hope that helps you understand it. I am going to put a link here. This is where it's available. I think this link will stay with the thing, but I'm also going to go on my Discord. So if you have the Discord and you go and need to join for me, just search for me, Yarn Spinner's Tales. Go to my Discord, and I have it there also. I hope that is good information. I would love for you to buy one, but I hope that you can find ways to make your spinning the most enjoyable and most exciting thing you do for your life.